Refuse to order meds for my patient? Let me get the wife to yell at you, by user past face 1132. I used to work night shift as a nurse. One night many years ago, I received a patient on my unit from the emergency room. My patient was accompanied by his lovely wife. When I introduced myself to them as being their nurse, I noticed immediately he was in severe pain. I reviewed his chart and orders. The doctor had not ordered any pain medications for him, just written to admit him to the unit. I called the doctor, who told me he was not going to order anything until he reviewed the patient's chart and saw them. I was confused, because he did see them in the emergency room, so why the delay? I tried to ask, but he insisted he would be up to the unit soon and then hung up. I apologized to the patient and the wife, relaying the doctor's message. Several minutes later, the doctor comes up and I ask him again for any pain medications I could give, as my patient was still having severe pain. The doctor told me no, then proceeded to gather a bunch of charts, sit at the nursing station and ignore me. I went back to the patient's room again, apologized and told them that the doctor was here but was wanting to review charts first before making orders. The wife, I could tell, was becoming angry as her poor husband had been having severe pain with no relief. She asked me where the doctor was and I gladly escorted her to the nursing station. I told the doctor that the patient's wife wanted to talk to him. I remember her ripping into him about the weight, her husband suffering and his refusal to write for any medication. He immediately apologized and gave me orders for medications that could be given immediately. So yay for family members who can yell at doctors because I can't. Okay Dan, you want to give my number out to strangers, by user bright_as_yellow. I have a really memorable phone number, like 123-4567 level distinct, so people often think I'm making it up when I give it out. For years now, some businessman named Dan, I'll leave out his last name, has been giving out my number to clients or people he doesn't want to deal with, just to brush them off. I've usually been polite when these people call, just letting them know they have the wrong number. Over time, I've picked up a surprising amount of info about Dan just by talking to the caller, like his full name, job title, the company he works for. He's very real. I never wanted to get involved or reach out to him directly. But after years of this nonsense, I've had enough. Lately, when someone calls asking for Dan, I tell them he moved to Arizona because of some legal issues and embezzlement. And if they ask if there's a new contact at the company, I say the whole operation is under investigation. I really hope this rumor makes its way back to him, because Dan, stop giving out my number. Seriously. My neighbor takes up all the parking spaces on the street, so I made friends with the birds, by user to Manny Yulis. Simple petty revenge. I have a neighbor who takes up all the free parking on our street, and in front of my home, with his trucks, 8 or 10 of them, and also has done lots of things to personally annoy me, like drive his dirt bikes through my front yard and letting his dog crap there, right in front of me. I befriended the local family of crows by feeding them their favorite things. Now I will occasionally see 5 or 6 crows waiting patiently in the tree in front of my house, crapping and looking especially creepy, but surprisingly not making a whole lot of noise to give away our secret to the other, nicer neighbors. They have also not crapped on my car in my driveway once, not once, in all the past months I've been treating them. The trees mostly cover the street area anyway. Edit, if you know crows, they are legion, and if my neighbor decides to retaliate, there will surely be a full-on war. I just spam called my year-long spam caller, by user boopamibop. I recently scam called my scam callers and it got them to stop. They were calling 10 to 15 times a day, each time spoofing a US-based location, and had the exact same voicemail, which has caused me to need to delete my entire voicemail inbox 3x weekly for at least a year. Extremely frustrating. So many calls during work meetings, important moments with friends, etc. Every single time, the same voicemail message. This is Jennifer from the senior underwriting team calling about your loan. I found Reddit post about this specific scam, and in one comment a guy claimed to have scam called them back and it got them to stop. So I decided, what the heck, let me see if this works. I called, put myself on mute, and hung up after 5 to 10 seconds of them talking. I did this exactly 266 times in 35 minutes. Each time to the same number. I cycled through 20 to 30 employees with accents from Australia to India to Mid-Atlantic, at least 3 different company names they claimed to be from, and many scripts. Sometimes they'd start one script then mess up and start on another. Other times they'd just say hello. The best was when they changed mid-script what company they were claiming to be from. Then sometimes they'd say hello Mr. BOOP. After about 150 calls, I started getting intermittently hung up on immediately after they answered the call. I knew I was getting to them. Finally, at call 260, I reach the final fucking boss. In a deep, mob boss type voice, I hear, and I kid you not, Mr. BOOP, you've gotta stop with these spam calls. I mean, seriously, you gotta have something better to do with your time. This happened Thursday and I'm still riding the high. Edit, oh yet and they have not called me back. My JR High bully ended up massaging my butt, by user lawlesslady63. So I55F was having issues with my sciatic nerve and made an opt for a massage. My usual therapist was on vacation so I had someone new. Let's call her Sarah, which is a pretty common name. She was great and did a great job. No complaints about her skill. But I couldn't shake the feeling I knew her. She looked familiar but I couldn't place her. We did the usual question thing. Do you live around her, where did you go to school, etc. and didn't come up with a common denominator, because we only went back as far as high school. I should also explain that she didn't recognize me, nor my name because when I was in school, I went by my nickname, and as an adult I was using my full married name, so, instead of D. Jones, I was Diane Smith so there was no way for her to recognize my name. When I was in JR High, there were two girls who were best friends and absolute bullies to me for some reason. Let's call them Sarah and Donna. I'd get shoved, hit, punched, and worse, and more than once, had books knocked out of my arms. Teachers never did anything and my years at the JR were miserable. Fortunately, we ended up at different high schools. Back to my massage. When the massage was over, I got dressed and went to pay. That's when I saw the receipt with her last name on it. Sarah Brown, and it all fell into place. Sarah came out to check on me and handed me a bottle of water and told me to soak in the tub with Epsom salts. I wasn't going to say anything. It was such a long time ago but I couldn't help myself. She had traumatized me. So, I said. So Sarah, I just saw your last name in the receipt and realized where I know you from. When you and Donna were terrorizing me in ABC Junior High, did it ever cross your mind that you would one day be massaging my ass? Then I told her, you would have known me as D. Jones back then. Give my love to Donna. And walked out leaving her with a stunned look on her face. I know it was petty but I couldn't help myself and I tell the story to everyone lol. Edit, someone just called me out in my age. Forgive me. I lurk but don't post often so I apparently didn't follow protocol. I read a story here earlier that reminded me of this event. What I should have said was I'm 6'2" and this happened a few years ago. Instead, I mistakenly gave my age at the time the event happened. Sorry for the confusion.